So what is up, guys? This is Nick here from Everything Tech, and welcome to this exciting video that I feel is going to be exciting because we have the ZTE Zmax 2. We all know and beloved this phone on the channel versus the Moto, G4 over there, and we are both rocking out with stock Android here on both of these devices. So what we're going to do is basically put them through a boot up test, we're going to put them through a speed test, and we're just going to see which one comes out on top. Let's get into that right now. Let's go. Kick this off with a boot up test, and let's talk about them while they are booting on. So you can see they both have power buttons on the right side. Let's go ahead and boot these guys up at the same time in 3, 2, 1. And let's see who gets to the home screen first. Both do have quite long boot up times. But what's interesting about these two is that they both pretty much run stock Android. But what's really nice is that the ZTE Zmax 2 is coming in at a really good price right now of only $60, as you can see right there. It's only $60 for this ZTE Zmax 2 at Best Buy. Now, if we go into the Motorola side of things, the Moto G4, that's going to come in right around $199 for the cheapest model you can get, and it could go all the way up to about $399 on the high end. So the Moto did boot up quite a bit quicker here, but you could see $199 here on this guy, and it could go up to $229 if you decide to go with a 32 gigabyte model here. So the Motorola did smoke the pants off of the ZTE Zmax 2. So a little bit shocking, but you know what? Not too much. This is a $60 phone, and this is a $200 phone, so I would expect that. This has an octa-core processor. This has a quad-core processor. But let's go inside and turn the brightness up on both of these. And let's go confirm the Android versions that we are running on both of these real quickly here. So if I go to About Phone on the ZTE and About Phone on the Moto, you can see that we are still waiting on the Marshmallow update for the ZTE Zmax 2. Don't know if ZTE is going to push this out, but it's been almost 7 to 8 months and they still haven't pushed it out, which is kind of disappointing. But you can see right there, Android 5.1 here. And of course, on the Moto G just came out, G4 has 6.0.1 Marshmallow. So in terms of the software, the nod definitely has to go to the Moto G here. But basically, let's just talk a little bit about the specifications of both of these devices. So let's go into the CPU-Z. And I was confirmed by a subscriber, and I went and did a little bit more research. This is actually not showing correctly. This is a 617 processor within the Moto G4. But basically, it's two, A53 cores, or, 4 times A53 cores with an Adreno 405 GPU and 2 gigabytes of RAM. All that mumbo jumbo means is decent mid-range budget performance specs that are, up to par for the mid-range of 2016. Over here on the ZTE Zmax 2, it is a quad core and it only has 4 of those A53s, so it has half less cores than the Moto G4. But let's see if that really makes a difference. 2 gigabytes of RAM, a 720p display here. So this has 1080, this has 720. So it has less cores, but it has a less sharp screen. So that might make up for it. Well, let's go ahead and get into the calendar. Let's start off with the calendar. Make sure everything is closed off here. See if things were open there, so that wouldn't have been fair. But we're gonna start with some system apps and then get some more third-party apps. You can see both are connected to the same Wi-Fi network up there. So let's begin this test in the speed department. So let's go into calendar. And that looks like the Moto G4. Let's go home. Let's go into clock. And both of these are all set to 1x animations. That was the Moto G4, it looked like to me. Let's go home. Let's go into calculator. That looked like the Moto G4 once again. Let's go into settings. That looked like the Moto G4 once again. Let's go into camera. That looked like the Moto G4 as well. So octa-core is showing pretty good stuff right here. So let's go into the YouTube real quickly here. And it looks like the ZTE was a little bit quicker there. So let's go into my videos. That was about the same. Let's go into my videos, but you can see they're only a hair different. Let's go into the Moto G4 speed test. You can see that was playing first, and shortly behind was the ZTE Zmax 2 here. So now let's go into a couple more applications here. Let's go into a PieGeek. And this is basically an awesome news aggregator of technology news. So the Moto G4 won this one as well, but it's only a hair behind. Is it 4 times the price behind on the ZTE Zmax 2? No way, it's only like a second different here. So you can see that we do have Chrome first here on the you know, the Moto G4 here. Let's go into Amazon. Let's see what happens here on the Amazon site. So we do have, it looked like the G4 there. It was a toss up. You guys let me know down below. Let's go home here and let's go into eBay and let's see what happens here in terms of that. So it looked like the G4 there. So the G4 is showing its octa-core prowess here. It is beating the ZTE Zmax 2, just a hair on everything. But you know what? This is so minimal, you would not really tell unless you were doing like what I'm doing right now and comparing them side by side. Let's go into Twitter. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I do post when I'm posting new videos on here and tweet about other things related to technology and what's going on with the channel and everything. So let's go into, let's see, Viber. And that looked about the same really quickly there. Now let's just do a quick multitasking just to see how they perform and hold RAM in the background. So let's go into calendar. That looked like the ZTE won that one there. Let's go on the clock. That looked like the ZTE. So the RAM management already is looking to be better on the ZTE. That was about the same on the settings. Let's scroll into Viber. About the same there. Let's go into Twitter. That was about the same there. Let's go into Instagram. About the same there. So the Moto's not too bad on RAM management. You know, it's not the best, but it's about even with the ZTE Zmax 2 in terms of the RAM management. But this is so slight, guys, if you've been noticing, that it seems like those octa-core might just be a marketing thing to get you to purchase the phone, because, you know, it doesn't really make a difference between an octa-core and, you know, quad-core in this day and age for what most of us do. So let's go into speed test and let's just run a quick speed test. And this could just show which one is doing better in terms of their Wi-Fi prowess. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. And let's talk a little bit about the camera. So if you want a good camera, the Moto G4 is definitely going to beat the ZTE Zmax 2 by a good long shot. It just has a much better camera in my opinion. And the screen at 1080p, while it doesn't look too much better on the video because you're seeing it through a camera lens, G4 recording this by the way, LG G4, it does look a lot better and it's much more pleasing to the eye on the Moto G4 if you want a great display. The display on the ZTE Zmax 2 is also a great display for its price point, but it's not even close to as good as the one on the G4 in my opinion. Let's go into test again. And it looked like the Moto G4 did pull in the better Wi-Fi speeds on that one. But let's just test this one more time here. And now they're looking neck and neck. So in terms of the speed department, I mean, these guys are pretty close all the way around the board. Wi-Fi, application openings, and all them kind of things. Let's go ahead and see who wins this one on the upload. Looks like ZTE is whipping that ass on the Moto G4. So let's see what's going on really quickly. And yep, ZTE won that on the upload. So these are a toss-up. Here and there, the ZTE actually might perform a little bit better than this octa-core CPU you see here on the Moto G4. Let's just do a quick Geekbench and let's just talk a little bit more about some other stuff. So in terms of the battery life, these guys are, you know, pretty close to about the same battery life, and that meaning both are very good, very acceptable. But I would say that the Moto G4 is a better battery guy because it has almost similar to equivalently good battery life as the ZTE Zmax 2, but it also comes with the Motorola turbocharger, which works pretty amazingly. I mean, if you plug it in with 30%, I did yesterday, 50 minutes, I was up to 100%. So it was pretty exceptional there. I'm gonna pause this video and come back when these Geekbench results are loaded. So the Geekbench scores are loaded, guys, and you could see that the Moto G4 just whipped on the ZTE Zmax 2, especially in the multi-core. Not so much in the single core, but in the multi-core scores. But in terms of gaming, that's where that would really probably shine. These guys, once again, were not too much different. I mean, the Moto G4 did show some chop in terms of the gaming department. So I wouldn't say that overall that it's so much better. Let's see if I have a similar game on here. No, I do not have a similar game loaded up here. But this is not a gaming test anyway. But I would say from my, you know, overall experience that this, you know, this device was better than the ZTE Zmax 2 in gaming, but it was not, you know, so much that it's 4 times the cost. So what's the moral of the story here? If you're on the AT&T network, you can also get this unlocked. I think it's like $100 on Amazon. You could save $100 here and get the ZTE Zmax 2 if you don't want the latest and greatest Android version. I would say if you do have the money, the Moto G4 is the better pick of these two. But you know what? We're going to talk more in the review about the value proposition for the G4, as there's so many phones right around its price point, $199 to $300, even on the used market, that probably I think offer a much better deal. But the moral of the story here is the Android phones are getting so good, and the ZTE Zmax 2 is continuing to show its great performance at $60 here from Best Buy, or $100 or so on Amazon. And the Moto G4 is still a great device, but if you want to save some money, you know, I would honestly say just get the ZTE Zmax 2. If you guys want to have that latest and greatest version of Android, but only want, you know, slightly better performance than the ZTE Zmax 2, go ahead and get the G4. Now, I know some of you are going to disagree with me, but that's okay. Go ahead and drop your disagreements or agreements down below in the comment section. We can get a chat about that. And that pretty much wraps this comparison video up. I don't know if I've missed anything. If I did, leave that down below. And I will catch you all in the next episode. Be sure to be well, and peace.
No.